It's now been a few months since Willa has started Japanese kindergarten, and we wanted to tell you how she's liking it, what our thoughts are, and a few challenges that we've been experiencing, especially comparing it to our experience with going to German Kita.
What do you like about your school?
Playing, singing.
Noah, do you want to tell Willa bye-bye?
Japanese kindergarten is called Yochien here, which is a place for kids aged 3 to 6 to go and prepare for elementary school. For the most part, the Yochiens are private, which is the case for Willa, and that means that she wears summer and winter uniforms. So you'll see little groups of kids going all over the city on like little field trips or even just like going by their schools, and they're all wearing the same thing with typically just a different bright colored hat that kind of distinguishes the school or like the age group that they're in. And as many of you would expect, her experience is entirely in Japanese since she is going to a private Japanese school. Of course, the most difficult thing about attending a Japanese Yochien is if you don't speak Japanese, it's going to be increasingly difficult. But we know that Willa was able to do really well in Germany and learning German, having not spoken any, and we were really hoping that she would transition into the same thing here. But what we weren't prepared for was the list of supplies that come with getting ready for school over here. I think just because it is our first experience going into like a kindergarten school, like with her Kita back in Germany, it wasn't so much the case. We had a few supplies, but most of it was provided. Here we had a list of so many things that we were given or had to purchase and then also prepare for, and that included getting the uniform ready, like putting their name, like sewing the name on, but then the list of supplies, art supplies, clay, labeling all of the art supplies, having a little musical instrument called a melodeon. There's just been a lot of items that have taken a lot of time to get ready for, and I don't think that we were really quite ready for all of that preparation that takes into getting them ready for school. But with that being said, we are happy that she has lots of different experiences with music and with art and creativity. It's really fun, but it definitely took us by surprise how long it took to get ready. And all of the things that I'm talking about, the uniform, the PE clothes, and the art supplies, we do have a separate video, so go ahead and check that one out if you haven't already. We'll put that in the description below.
So like Tanner mentioned, Willa's school is fully in Japanese. We love that she's getting exposed to a new language and she's really getting immersed here in the culture. However, Willa is growing up, and as much as it's crazy for me to say this, she's almost at kindergarten age, and that's the time that most people learn how to read. We knew that immersing her into a foreign language, that it would be up to us to teach her how to read, and it's been really fun because she's starting to have such an excitement to learn how to read. She's at the place now where she's doing phonics and starting to blend words together. In fact, we've already started reading books. We've also been loving OutSchool, which is an online learning program geared towards kids ages 3 to 18, helping them to learn on their own terms with a wide variety of teachers, topics, and classroom settings.
I have a new class.
Your class is going to teach you how to read, huh?
Yeah, but she speaks English, so that's good.
Yeah, are you trying to learn how to read English?
Yeah.
OutSchool's mission is to inspire kids to love learning by making it fun, social, and self-directed. We love the flexibility that OutSchool offers. That's a huge plus for us, that we can find classes that work to our schedule. And I really think OutSchool is so awesome because it helps families formulate and create their own experience with schooling by doing it on their own timeline, their own schedule, making it look how they want. Not only that, but they offer affordable options, especially when we're comparing this to private tutoring, private schools, and even like after-school clubs. The thing that we love the most about this program is Willa's having so much fun. And the teachers at OutSchool do a great job of having the kids and teenagers take control of their learning journey and have fun with it. OutSchool is a program that we're going to take advantage of here in Japan and likely wherever else life takes us afterwards. Get 20% off your first class by going to outschool.com and using the code in our description box. Thank you, OutSchool, for sponsoring this video. What are we listening to?
Japanese music.
While we get ready for what?
Let's go.
Your Japanese school?
Yeah.
We love listening to German music. Wow, huh? Willa gets herself entirely dressed. Huh. Is this the toughest part? You got it.
Hey, look at guys.
Put it down though.
I'm too afraid. I don't have my cast on anymore, guys.
Yeah, you broke your foot, huh?
But now I don't have it.
That's probably what was going on when everything was so crazy, huh? So we broke our foot.
Thank you, Catch.
Yep, no cast. So tell them about school. What did you eat yesterday?
It was a lot good food. But I only eat when it's a long day.
Yep. The first week you had a half day. And did you want it to be a long day on those ones?
Yeah, because I wanted to eat it.
Yeah, and did you love it so much? What do you like about your school?
Playing, singing.
Do you like your friends?
Yeah.
Do you like your teacher?
Yeah.
Do you like to speak Japanese?
Before I didn't like my teacher, but now I do.
Did you put on your confidence spot?
No, I just got closer than I put on my confidence spot.
And did it work?
Yeah. I put my place button.
What do you think about the language?
My foot speaks English and Japanese.
And are you trying to learn Japanese?
Yeah. And then I get my jacket and I will be ready to go to school. Hey, look, when I do this, I look like a cowboy. Are you ready, guys? Watch this. I put it up. I put my hands through to this. It's kind of tricky. I know. I've been practicing. Then I went to the car, putting my shoes on. Because now I can wear 2 shoes like a little kid.
Noah, do you want to tell Willa bye-bye? That you love her? Willa absolutely loves her Japanese school. It's only been a week and 1 day since she's been going, but every day has been a positive experience. That is so relieving as a parent. That was one of my biggest concerns. We knew it could make a huge difference to our experience, and so we just were hoping and praying and believing in her that it would turn out that way, but you never know. And we love it. This is what Mommy has to wear to drop Willa off.
Willa is just growing up so fast, you guys. It has been really surprising to see just how much older and, like, I guess bigger it feels riding a bus. So that's the first thing. The bus comes, picks her up, and drops her off at school. So it's really nice and convenient that we don't have to drive, or I should say Risa doesn't have to drive her into school, kind of like we had to do in Germany. It wasn't that far, not a big deal, but it is very nice and convenient, especially if Noah was still sleeping. Willa definitely loves riding the bus, and I think it's one of her highlights of the day. Just so fun to see her like being on the bus in her uniform, cute little hats, riding with the other kids. It's really adorable. In fact, when I went to the parent-teacher meeting a few days ago, I had actually called Willa over from her classroom, and I said, hey, like, Daddy's on the bike. If you want to hop on the seat with me, we can go home. And she's like, I want to ride the bus. So, and it was kind of hard, like, because I wanted to take her home with me and like spend time and talk or stop at a park or whatever on the way home. And she was like, no, I'll go on the bus, Dad. And I was like, oh, you're growing up way too fast, and you're just like, I don't know. But she likes to go on the bus, and hopefully she's having a great time and, you know, being able to be on the bus. She loves it. Willa was definitely feeling the most nervous about her teacher, which is one of the only males in the school, and I believe the only male teacher that like has everyday presence in the class and not just like the PE teacher. She definitely gravitates more towards women, especially younger women for teachers, and that's why her experience in Germany was so great. It's because she went from older women teachers to much younger women teachers, and I think she just felt more comfortable because they are roughly the same age as us, and she feels more comfortable, especially around females. But that being said, after a few days of getting to know him and also being able to see them interact, I think that she's finally warmed up and she's not nearly as nervous as she was before.
Whoa!
Now to go over a few things that we absolutely love about the school, and we were very surprised to find out. First and foremost, they get meals every single day, a lunch, and it is a homemade meal at the school. And you guys, we wish that we could have this a little bit more often. I'm going to tell you about an experience about when I got to go and actually taste one of the meals, but we'll get to that in a minute. They have a registered dietitian on site and then also a nutritionist to help out with all of the meal preparation for the children. So honestly, we love that, especially where Risa is a registered dietitian. She loves knowing that someone is there who is educated and helping out with the meal planning for the kids. It's fun because like on the little app that they have for the school, we get to see like the menu every single month, and some of the meals, they sound so good. Like I mentioned, I actually got to go to like a little parent teacher meeting just a few days ago, and got to like sit down, have some tea, have some rice, and like a fried salmon cake with some tartar sauce of sorts. And you guys, it was probably some of the best fish that I've had here in Japan. And this is just a little example of what they have for lunch. What's interesting is that they don't have a lot of fruit, or when they do have fruit, it's almost like their dessert. That's something that we've talked about in other videos in Japan, and we'll be talking about them more, is that fruit is typically seen as more of a delicacy. A few other items that they have is like ramen, rice, miso soup, tofu, sometimes mushrooms, fish, and other seafood. And then for drinks, I know that they've had barley tea. I'm pretty sure that's what I had as well when I went there. Milk, juice, water, they rotate through them. But I think it's really cute to see that Willa loves using chopsticks. She's becoming really good at it, and even sometimes at home she'll prefer getting her chopsticks rather than eating with like a fork, especially if we're having noodles or something that's at least easy enough to get with chopsticks. We love that she is getting exposure to so much Japanese. She's been coming home and singing really adorable little like sayings and phrases, counting from 1 to 10, just like very quickly. That was within the first few days that she was doing that, and from then on, like, we've been able to learn new things. And even now she comes home and it's adorable because she'll be like, "Hey Dad, guess what this means? I'm going to teach you a new word." And so seeing her mind just grow and adapt to a new language is really incredible. Really proud of her, and just it's fun because even for me, I'm not able to practice Japanese or learn Japanese as often as I would like to, and so it's fun to have her teach me and like be kind of my guide. So you're doing great, sis. Thankfully, we do as parents have someone at the school who speaks English well enough to communicate with us and to go and communicate with Willa if she needs anything, especially if like they're having a hard time finding out something like in the classroom. The teacher will go in there, communicate with our student, communicate with the teacher. So it's not completely like drop off in the deep end where there is no one there to support. And of course, some of the teachers do know little phrases in English, so it is nice that they can relate and they can help, especially when learning new words. They can say it in English and then say it in Japanese. We're thankful for that, but the exposure has been awesome, and we're hoping that she continues to learn as well as she has already. It's also worth mentioning that because we are here in Yokosuka and there are a lot of other American families, she's not the only American in her class or in her school. I think every single class has at least a few English speakers, so that's nice as well that she can connect with other kids who speak a little bit more Japanese than her, and then she can also have someone to play and speak English with as well. The next two areas are definitely crafts and creativity and music. And Risa and I really love these because she's able to go and like create things with her hands, draw. She loves to draw, and it's been fun to see like her little stick figures become more and more realistic, and like her shapes become more well-defined and such. Really happy that the learning is focused on play rather than like strict criteria that I know sometimes might be thought of when you think of like Japanese learning, and that definitely happens once you get more into like the grade school and older grades. They definitely have more rigid schedules, but thankfully right now they're really letting the kids explore, find out who they are, find out more of what their preferences and their likes are through creativity and play. She came home the other day with this adorable like duck bill, and she was the cutest thing, and she could like open her mouth with it and it would open up. And then she had this cape which was supposed to be like feathers with a white plastic sheet and like colored feathers on it, and it was adorable just to see how much she like loved playing dress up, and they were able to do that at school. So another fun project.
Do first is put the mask on. I am trying.
Yeah, we'll put it away.
Mom, they put my name on it.
Yes, Willa. Okay, tell me about your Japanese school.
My Japanese school is so even fun.
Do you love it?
Yeah.
Another thing that Risa and I love is that, like in Germany, they focus on independent play and independence. So that means that they're cleaning up after themselves, they brush their teeth after lunch, and they're really trying to take care of their own environment as a whole. The Japanese schools, they actually don't have like janitors. Like the students and the staff, they clean up after themselves, and they do a really good job of making sure to take care of the area that they have been using. and I think that's really awesome because it's hopefully going to translate at home as well. Into cleaning up our messes, and I think that we've noticed that a little bit too, especially like cleaning up after dinner and stuff. She's been showing more of an understanding that that's just something that has to happen in order to keep like an area and a space clean. So we love that. Another thing that we really love is that they have on-site activities like after hours. So some parents are able to like let their kids stay there in like an after-school class, but we've definitely taken advantage. She's done a couple trial days for like gymnastics and soccer, and she's currently doing soccer right now, so it's really fun. And they get to do that outside as long as like the weather's good. We love how much outside time they get. They're able to go and play soccer, tag, play on the playgrounds and stuff, and we love that they are able to do that because little kids, they just need to get out and play. They don't need to be stuck inside, doing lessons all the time. They also get to go to a weekly gym time with a gym teacher, PE teacher, and that's really fun. Willa always talks about how much she has fun running around, and it's fun to see the different little obstacle courses and activities that they do. And just like in Germany, that was some of her favorite days. She would just go and run and run and run, and it sounds like that's what she's also getting here, which is amazing. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is how much it costs, because that seems to be a hot topic between the US and a lot of the European countries, and we were interested to see what that would be like moving here to Japan. Now, when she was in German Kita, it was actually free for her to go 25 hours a week with her specific group. When she was younger, it did cost a little bit more, but like the county or the city actually subsidized a large portion up to 25 hours worth, which was incredible because that's 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. And yes, she did have to pack like any own little snacks that she needed, but still, so amazing, especially when you compare it to childcare and like kindergartens back in the States. Now, before we decided on sending Willa to this specific school, we looked at several others like international schools and even some that are like much closer to base, and a lot of them were kind of expensive. I think it would range between $100 and $400 a month, with some of them being close to like $400 to $500 a month. Now, I know for like the States, maybe that's not so crazy, but especially where we were coming from free in Germany, it was quite an initial like sticker shock. But after the reviews we heard from this school and after touring it, and especially after seeing the price, we were pleasantly surprised. But that includes the bus fee and lunch and her time all there. So honestly, it's quite affordable, and we love that aspect. And if there is ever a time that we need her to stay longer in the day, they have a little after school program that is exceptionally cheap. Like, I think we're talking about like 1 to 200 yen per hour. Now that's like $1 to $2 an hour for care. So extremely, extremely affordable. All right, now I talked about a lot of great things that we've had from the school. It's time to see the other side and talk about some of the challenges or some of the things that we're maybe not so fond of. The first one that I'm going to go back to is actually mealtime. Now, I did talk pretty highly about it and how it's fun to get the different exposures and how much the food really tasted amazing that I tried. We are very open and we are promoting on like listening to your body and intuitive eating. And so this is where it kind of headbutts or contradicts what they do at school. They focus on eating everything on the plate, or at least trying everything on the plate before getting the dessert. And that goes against what we typically do in home, so that's been harder for her because she'll say, they made me try this, or they made me eat this before I could get this. So that was something that we just had a little brief talk with the teacher just to explain what she's typically used to, and thankfully they didn't have any issues with it, and she hasn't complained about any of that since. Finally, the last one, which I think most people would have expected us to talk about, is the discipline. It's a little bit hard to say because we don't get to see everything in person, right? We just hear from our little 4-year-old her experience and how the teachers interact, and we also take into consideration that it's in Japanese, and so maybe she's not able to fully understand what they're saying, or it comes across more harshly than they're meaning it to, but they do tend to be a little bit more disciplined. Honestly, at times it can be a little too much, and sometimes when Willa tells us what happens at school, it's kind of hard not to be a little let down or a little reactive, because that's typically not how we parent. And so I know that that's maybe the challenge that every parent has to face, and that we're just being introduced to that, is that the teacher, the teacher is over the classroom and they probably are disciplining a little bit different, having 20 kids running around in a classroom than we do with just 1 or 2 kids. But that's been an area that has been a little bit harder for us, and was one of our main concerns with sending her to a Japanese school rather than like more of an international school where there are more American teachers involved. That being said, there is a huge emphasis for respect, and we do love that, and trying to respect our elders and respecting our classmates and understanding that it's not all about us. We need to take others into consideration, but that goes without saying. There have been times where it has been difficult to hear just a little bit more harsh in the discipline than we would typically like. Well, there you have it. Those are a little bit of our thoughts and some insight on how Japanese school has been going for Willa. It's been really fun, like I've said several times, to see her just grow and really embrace the Japanese school system and the language and making new friends and just really being excited to learn about Japanese culture. And for us as well, it's been fun to go to these different events, go on the field trips, and just see how Japanese children and Japanese schools interact. We love that about living abroad and love that about living here in Japan. Thanks again for watching so much. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the like and the subscribe button and continue following along our adventures here in Japan.